I like the steps.
I love it.
I used to look at her house and I was like, oh, it looks so, like,
yeah.
it needs so much work, like paint-wise and stuff. Anyways, now looking at the house from the back, it looks awesome. So one of the things that he did was the cricket right there.
So that was, yeah, that was that first area that I was like literally climbing around. Like, see, look at that. See the metal aluminum? Remember that was a question, like, how are you gonna get that under there? And even that looks so clean and nice. Like, see the aluminum right there? You know, John, and actually all of them were like panicking, like, what are you gonna do? I'm like, oh no, guys, don't worry about it. Like, I'll find something like at the end, and we'll find something and fix it.
We had lots of different things done, but it was not enough.
It's
well,
not,
no, and it just didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not easy either to like say like, okay, so you've had like all these people come and you're still having the same problem. I can't imagine sitting there in your shoes and saying like, wow, we really gotta put like, you know, we're really gonna trust that this is the right way to do it. Like, we've heard this, that, and this, and it's like it's like, I don't know, you know. Sometimes it's really like, I gotta roll the dice and trust my, you know, gut instinct and trust my judgment.
Yeah, that's right, because when they were gonna come and start on the roof, I'm like, I want to see Derek.
All right, so let me see. Okay, so they have a PVC cement that once it like makes contact with it, it will never come off, never. But it seems like it's sitting a little bit of high because of these, which it may be. So.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yes, and you know what? So like this right here just needs a little bit of adjustment. So yeah, that's I can correct that very easily, and somebody would touch it and it will never come off ever again unless you hit it with a hammer. No, don't do that. So that's something that needs to be corrected.
That's just a small thing. That's very small. And they all were somewhat problematic. I'm sure you've heard.
Oh,
they were all.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, like not one of these walls. This is actually a nightmare of a window job because the frame was so, everything was, all right, so some of the walls would be like 4 inches and it would taper down to 6. So like, you know, the width is different. Oh yeah.
I watched them though. Each window was different.
Yeah, that's what.
I will tell you that. You know, it really was. Yeah. You know, and it really was. And now that it's done, like I can tell you, so when I gave Harvey the measurements, like they put it as the exact fit, not the rough.
Oh.
You know?
Well, they were rough.
And so, no, so here's the problem is, so basically it was like a little bit more work for us because it was tighter. They didn't go in. Now, you have a better fit window, but it was more work for us. There was like some that were just so close that they had to like shave a little bit down, and not the window, but like the frame.
The frame, yeah. Oh yeah, we watched him do that. It was amazing.
Yes, it actually created a little bit more work for us, but you know what? I don't know where the confusion was because, you know, I measured them all, and that's why I was taking down blinds, you know, and I don't know why they put in, so they put my finished measurement as the rough, you know, which just created a nightmare. So,
well, we ultimately, because of the new construction window and what was in there before, we ended up with new windowsills.
I know.
Because the depth of, like, it's so deep
it was
now,
off.
from the front to the back, from the inside to the outside wall.
I
didn't planned
that. And I didn't paint yet because I wanted you to like see everything as it is, and then now this weekend I'll paint everything.
So that, you know, like again was, you know, discussed with me. I didn't want to come back at you and say, oh, you know, gotta put window. Yeah, let's just do it. You know, good customer, just do it. It was more work, more money, came out good, but let's just do it. It's just not gonna work because of the way that they were. It kind of like, you know, with all the different wall sizes and the fact that we're going from the replacements to the new construction, kind of would have been like a little hacked up. So, you know, I just had them do that. And I didn't want to charge any extra because, you know, you gave us a lot of work. The money was there. Just do it. Just put the windowsills in, do it right, make sure it's done right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, they look really nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they do.
Look good. Good.
They'll look even better once we paint.
And then you saw this one. Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty difficult. This was that one came out really good.
For as challenging as they were too, I mean, there's not really that much around that needs to be painted.
Once we paint it
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then once it's all painted, it's gonna look great. This was a lot of work for windows.
I know.
Yeah, that's what Mike said. He said, I've not ever worked that hard.
He got to window number 3 or 4 and he's like, okay, I got this. And it's just going to go pretty quick from now on. And that was like, he ate those words pretty fast.
That was because window number 3 was the one that was already redone.
When you see a lot of window jobs, like it's just like such crappy work. Like a replacement window job in an older home is always terrible, you know. And that's why people don't go from replacement to new construction.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, even doing all the siding, it's just a lot of work, and you can't get a big, substantial amount more in money. Like it's hard to convince people that this is the right way to do it. But knowing it's a lot of work and trying to charge them the appropriate price to do it is almost impossible.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment.
People don't understand the
They always
difference.
negotiate.
People don't understand the difference. I actually had an architect I was sitting down with a customer. I had already done a huge project for this customer. I had an architect arguing with me, telling me that the window that I was telling the customer to install, like in my contract, I was explaining it wrong. It was the wrong window. They don't have that flat casing. He was questioning me so
An
much.
architect.
And I'm not even joking, an architect, I'm not gonna say his name because I think that's, bad, and he said that doesn't exist. I said, you know what, instead of going back and forth in front of the customer, he already had his job. I was now interviewing basically for mine, me and another guy. The architect wanted his contractor,
Oh, yeah.
but I had already done work for this customer.
Yeah.
So there was trust. And I said, instead of wasting any time with this, it does exist. And in 30 minutes, I will send you a picture. I will actually go to my house and take off siding, take some pictures, and I did. And he just put "oh" in response. And I did a group text. This is what I was explaining because he wanted his contractor to do the work so bad that he was trying to undermine me, and it was.
Wow.
I was just trying not to like John was there, and most people don't get me to the point where I'm getting a little bit aggravated, and he really did. He got me a little bit aggravated to the point where I was having trouble explaining it. So I just said,
Popping 'em.
we never do that. So I said, I'm just gonna instead of discussing this and having a debate about it, I'm just gonna send you a picture. Let's move past it. You're wrong, and I'll send you a picture. And then he was also saying, the customer said, I want maintenance free. I do not want maintenance. And this guy was saying that you cannot do cedar impressions because it will look plasticky, and that's not what he wants. So on his plans, the customer is telling me maintenance free. So I'm calling for cedar impressions, and he's telling me that I'm wrong. He's trying to convince the customer that no, this place needs to be cedar shingles. I do all houses down by the water. That's what they are. It's gonna look plastic. It's gonna look like crap, and so then I sent him pictures, and he goes, I don't see the difference. Then when it was done, it's like, wow, that looks great. It looks like wood. And this guy the architect never showed up, when we had questions. And it kind of created a nightmare for us because everything was wrong. It was actually kind of a nightmare for us because it was just bad. It was actually shockingly bad, this guy should never work again. Wow. Terrible plans.
Man.
Wow. Well, how do you like this sill?
Yeah, how'd you like this?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
We'll eventually
I'm gonna go
stain it off.
visit the guy that sold the walnut to us, and
yeah, once you stain this, now I think that looks correct because it just kind of just dropped off in there, and it was we were just like, oh, what do we do with that? It just and unfortunately,
so different just because of this.
Unfortunately, what can you do? You're not gonna adjust the height of the vanity. You're not gonna adjust the height. You can't adjust the height of the window and reframe the house. So. And
we couldn't move this any closer.
Yeah, no, you wanted to look correct, and I think that looks great. Once you stain it.
Yeah, once we stain it.
That worked out good that it was good on your part that you did the diligence of getting the right wood.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the right thing to do. And then, did Karen show you where the water was?
Oh yeah, it was here.
It was right under that
It was on
vent.
this.
So when I looked over, there was just this big puddle right here, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But then this was all wet in here, and this was splashed.
Yeah,
and there was water on the
I think it was
windowsill.
the vent.
But I think it came in from there.
So
Yeah, the window was never wet. Like inside, because I pulled the top window down, none of that was ever wet.
John called me about it, and his like voice was like crackling, and I'm like, listen, like we made a lot of changes. Like, you know what? We just go up there and we just have to figure it out like this.
I mean, I didn't even skip a beat. I was just like, call Derek, and I went downstairs and got some coffee. I was like,
Yeah.
we're gonna call Derek for the rest of our lives.
Grab the towel.
No.
Like, wait, you can't.
If that's what we need, that's what we'll do.
And you know, like when like your heart needs to skip a beat, it's like, let's say you do a bathroom. And like, you know, somebody forgets to like connect the hose and turns the water on, and then you destroy a house, which is not, we'll find some wood and knock on it, because it never happened, but that's when your heart skips a beat. I mean, if, you know what, like do this amount of work and like something gets missed, not flashed, not corked, or, you know, a little, and you have a small leak and it's correctable, go, let's just correct it, that's all.
That's right.
Well, Mario came back that day and he went up and he fixed a few things and
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looked at
at
things that we
everything.
didn't see.
yeah,
He was like, okay,
he's very efficient.
I don't like this, so he fixed that.
That's good, yeah. There's a lot to things, and sometimes, you know what, you put a few eyes on it, and
Oh yeah.
that's, you know, and
He's
then,
looking at it different than we are. I mean, we look at some things, but then aesthetics are important, but also uniformity.
Yeah, I was looking at like little pieces of flashing that were sticking out. I'm like, look, that's white or silver. Can you push that back up?
doing like this to an older house is,
Oh,
you know, renovating is always so much harder than just starting from scratch,
know.
the new construction.
Well, honestly, I don't know if you have an older house like this. I don't know why you would do replacement windows unless it's simply a window glass issue. You know what I mean? Like, we had leaking issues and it was always leaking around our
if we didn't
windows.
do the cedar impressions, I would have had you build brand new like wooden window frames if we were going to.
But that wouldn't correct it.
Yeah, like I mean,
That-
like construction, like.
So the reason that the new construction is the right way to do it is literally because it has that flange that sets.
Oh, yeah, right.
So like when we install it, you put a bead behind it
Yeah.
of silicone, so already you have a seal, and then
That's right, because it's sticking into the.
yeah. So
It's not
like
nice.
I mean, it's hard. People mostly, you know, they don't understand. But when you're just taking a window and you're sliding it into a frame and then you're sealing it, there's no like flashing, you know. So and then sometimes they put metal around the sills. But when you take a new construction window, and then let's say this is the opening, and it's literally set now up against the wood, behind it is sealed, and then we tape that flange. Mm-hmm. So then we tape it, and even the top piece of tape has to be done right. So that overlaps this one, and nothing will ever get in there. So any water now is just going on that solid plastic, solid vinyl jam, and it just runs off.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, as opposed to if it runs in, it's like you have silicone or bent metal, and you know, it's not the correct way to do it.
Or cases of
coffee.
Yeah. Like we literally found out a whole case. Yeah, that's right. We were talking about
Oh
it.
man.
Why people will do that? Because if you have to take all the siding off, and even if the siding's off, every like older houses, it's just a frame. It's like it's more work. So whereas a replacement window, you can like adjust. You can adjust this part of the window as much as you want for a replacement. You know, so you can take the jamb, and if you had to, stick another piece of wood on it. Mm-hmm. Like or push it out. It's very easy. You know, and then you just slide it in.
Yeah.
You know, but that's why it's very rare, you know, unless like stripping a whole house to do a window job. Nobody will ever do a window job and put in. And the biggest window companies ever will still tell you to put in replacement.
Right.
Because
That wouldn't have fixed our problem. They were here. Yeah.
I
That
know.
wouldn't have fixed our problem.
I know. That's why I didn't want to do it. You know,
But we
like,
knew that. You know, we knew it wouldn't fix our problem.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
couldn't wait to get that guy out of our house.
Yeah.
He was not giving us good advice.
And he said
And he's expensive.
he said he was almost done and he was never done.
Yeah.
So, anyway, all our windows. Well, there's another light.
So this one was pretty good. Again, just much of the same. But it is. When y'all come back for the cookout, it'll all be painted, and then you can check it out again. The barbecue.
It was so funny before I met you. Like, so like she's like a softball coach. I'm like, you can have your whole women's softball team over there, and
Yeah.
we can have a cookout.
Yeah. That's right. I won't bring them then. So these,
I have no comment for that one. I like them. I'm keeping my hands on myself. This was a tough
Well,
one.
there's nothing there anymore. Don't worry.
I know. That was horrifying for me.
I still have her.
That was
I can't even
horrifying.
imagine. I wasn't
There
there.
it is.
Oh my
Oh, don't! Look,
gosh.
she's gonna cry.
Like, oh,
Look,
Ah.
we should put like a little Derek
Yeah, my
sign
mom
on there.
ordered me another one,
good,
but
good.
his name stayed intact.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, you know what?
You
Like,
would have got along with my dad.
Yeah,
So
oh,
he
yeah.
didn't. He's okay.
yeah, maybe, you know what? Like, maybe that was just like a sign of him saying, like, you know, treat my daughter really good.
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
That's what he's
I'm
right.
like, I had that thing wrapped in my finger, and you know, I didn't drop it at all. I'm like,
He's like he still has the string.
I'm so happy she was standing right there because I would never be able to explain that.
Yeah.
It would just sound like I was lying.
Like,
I was
sure.
careless. You know, I'm like, what was that? And just a piece of string on my finger, and I'm just like, oh no, like throwing it out.
Well, you have to know,
Oh my
Dave.
god.
Yeah, so it was like the
Yeah.
little angel from her dad.
Yeah, I know.
Like I was, oh.
Well, Dave had an accident with the little softball player outside. Did he tell you?
No. Oh,
He
yes, he
came?
did. Oh, yeah. They asked me to pick up the 2-pot epoxy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
He
put it
came
back
up like
together.
he said he was leaving for the day, and then he came back and said,
I gotta own it
I forget how he said, yeah,
I
I
gotta
gotta-
own it up to something.
and he basically like showed us the 2 or 3 pieces of it's like a little ceramic statue.
Oh,
Like a little
really?
softball player, you know?
Yeah.
So, like,
And then several days later, he was just sitting there in the chair, like you sit when you're doing the lawn. Like he was sitting there, like holding the pieces together, and he's like, "I just gotta wait for 5 minutes." And he was holding them all together, and it's just fine.
yeah.
It's
Dave.
totally
You know what?
fine.
You know what's like,
The thing is, he remembered and he did it. You know, like we never said anything.
Yeah.
the thing about Dave is like, Dave, like, so Dave's worked for me like for 12 years.
Yeah.
Very talented. Like,
Yeah.
they take him in small doses. He'll drive you nuts, you know. But I tell you, like, one thing about him, and I will say this, like, the most honest guy ever. I'll never forget when we were in this woman's house. She was in her 70s, and Dave was taking out a vanity. And, like, he goes, look at what I found. He cleans it all up. And I was like, wow. Like, he found in her vanity trap. Now, the bathroom was about 50 years old.
Uh-huh.
He found this, like, 3-carat diamond ring with a bunch of small diamonds on a very, like, thin, you know, like, chain. Because the woman, like, had, you know, she had arthritis, so she couldn't wear it. That was her wedding ring.
Wow.
So, like, this thing was worth, like a lot of money.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I mean, but the sentimental value, I mean, this lady had plenty of money. The sentimental value was huge for her.
Wow.
So, like, Dave was so happy to, like, hand it to her. It was worth about $15,000.
Oh my gosh.
No,
Oh my god.
And he was so happy to, like, clean it up and be like, look what I found. She started
Yeah.
crying. She's like, I mean, here's something that she thought she lost and it just fell off and fell into the trap.
Wow.
It wasn't, even though it had a lot of carats, it wasn't a huge ring because she had small fingers. It
Yeah.
was, you know?
Wow.
nice.
That's cool. That's a cool story.
Yeah.
All right, Derek. This is the one.
One more window.
All right, this is it.
Want to know what
This will be easy for you.
Okay.
All right, so this is the one that had the hole, and then
Yes.
you just put a board over top of it. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan.
So
Okay.
underneath that, there's about
But
a
I don't
half an
know
inch
what the,
gap.
The other, yeah, there was like, I don't know if you saw the picture, but there's just.
Okay, so this is what I would do,
Okay.
and it's not a big deal. We'll have to come back to do it. Is I would just kind of want this. I mean, you see, like you have a lot of trim and stuff. This is all painted white. It is not gonna. You're not even gonna see this. So we're gonna take this one out, okay? And I'm gonna rip like a small piece of wood in here. So now this literally will look like it goes to the wall, and I'm gonna put a flush piece in here, and I'm just gonna cut that back, and then it's just gonna wrap right around. So this is not gonna be this thick, and it's just going to be just white all the way up.
Yeah.
You won't even see it.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah, because it just looks like a board over a hole.
It does.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
totally
What
agree.
it is.
So take this off, and then we
You're so
just
technical, Joyce.
cut this a little bit, and it will run right into there, and it will
Oh, yeah,
it will wrap right around, and it will look better than
A board in
Okay.
the hole.
It did before we started.
Okay.
That doesn't look good. I totally agree with you. So we'll correct that.